blockchain lab, BHP network with Tone Vays. I'm very happy about. Tomorrow there will be our monthly meetup and it's totally overbooked. So I'm going to interview Tone since you guys have a lot of questions for him, and I think Tone doesn't need any introduction. He's a crypto analyst, derivative trader and consultant, and I mean, he's very famous. So let's begin.
Thank you for having me here. It's great. Thank you for the workstation. It's awesome.
So I received a lot of questions, but I've tried to summarize them in only 6 questions. The first one is my personal question. I've listened to one of your recent interview, and you said, I'm not scared of hard forks anymore. Can you explain it better?
Sure. Like a lot of us were worried that there will be a hard fork and Bitcoin will split into 2, and there would be brand confusion. People wouldn't know which one is the real Bitcoin. And we already had that. We had that as of October 1st. Bcash came out. And there's not that much brand confusion, and it's being supported by a lot of money. And I'm just noticing how silly it really is. And at this point, I'm not scared of any more Bitcoin hard forks. Bring them on. Bring on 2x. Let it fork. They'll be battling it out between the 2x people and the Bitcoin Cash people. And us Bitcoiners will be sitting on the side just laughing and enjoying the show. As long as the smart people are developing for Bitcoin with Bitcoin Core, I'm not nervous at all.
Amazing. So the other question is from Didi. When Tone will admit he was wrong about Ethereum?
Wow, this is a really hard question to summarize. So it needs to be more specific. Was I wrong on the Ethereum price? Absolutely. I mean, I remember I never expected it to go above $1. I never expected it to go above $1 or $2. So yeah, I mean, I admitted long ago how wrong I was on the price of Ethereum. I underestimated the hype and people's belief in, you know, rainbows and unicorns and other things that aren't real. But was I wrong about Ethereum being created as an unlicensed, unregistered security? No, that I'm still expecting the SEC to come down on them. Have I changed my mind on decentralized smart contracts? And the answer is no. I think smart contracts are great. I think decentralizing them is unnecessary. What about using your own currency inside your own platform? I completely disagree with that also. It's like Netflix charging Netflix stock to buy a subscription. Like I'm not wrong about these things, and sooner or later I expect the world to recognize them as well.
Now we have a very specific question from Lamer Bremal. And the question is, there was a 2 years bear market after 2013. High was due to Willy bots. Can we expect another such long bear without a rally?
Well, it was closer to a year and a half, maybe even like a year and 2 months. So I wouldn't call it a 2-year bear market. And the answer is yes. And the most interesting part of that question was at the end of the question, where he said without a rally. But last November, right now we're in September, so less than a year ago, the price of Bitcoin was like $700. And we had $5,000 just on September 1st. So in about 8 months, the price of Bitcoin has gone from about $700–800 all the way to $5,000. That is not that far different from what happened in 2013 with the Willy bot, which went from about $10 to $1,000, which is bigger in 1 year, granted. But still, we had a big rally. Now, can we have a similar situation? And the answer is yes. And specifically, what happened with Willy bot? So Willy bot was helping drive the price up. And in addition, there was all this news in 2013 with the Cyprus incident and then the US hearings that seemed to be positive for Bitcoin. Like a lot of news driving people into Bitcoin. But we had a lot of news in Bitcoin this past year in 2017, mostly surrounding scaling and Bitcoin blocks are full and we need to do something, and people were, even bad news in the world of Bitcoin is good news, like the hack of HBO and all these other things. So At the same time, the Bitcoin blockchain was being spammed. So a lot of those transactions that made it to the news cycle that Bitcoin is, too popular and too many people are using it, it drove the news cycle, making more people feel like they're missing out. That's the FOMO, fear of missing out. So it's as if we had our own Willy bot with the spam attacks, and now the spam attacks are gone, and I'm noticing how empty the Bitcoin mempool is and how few Bitcoin transactions there actually are relative to this summer, and it makes me a little worried that we might be in that Willy bot situation.
So now Bitcoin is very popular, so it's full of new trading experts, but basically those guys are noobs. And they are going to do a lot of mistakes. So what are your suggestions?
There are many suggestions. So it takes me back, like I learned to trade right after the dot-com crash, and there were so many lessons learned there. The most important of which was, if you have a real day job and you think you're a trader, you're not. Trading is a specialty, it's a skill. And the general advice is, you have to understand that in a bull market, everyone's a genius. And you're probably getting more lucky than good, because there are professionals that have been doing this for years and years and years. The other thing, though, they will learn if they don't go bust in the near future, which is highly likely. Those that survive as traders will realize that one of the biggest mistakes that they've made the whole time, besides the obvious one of risk management, is overtrading. Overtrading is a serious problem. Right now in traditional markets, I pretty much make as few trades a year as possible, and I'm trying to get down to like less than 10 trades a year.
So the next one is about Bitcoin price. What are we going to see in the next month? What are your forecasts?
So the 5,000 was a very interesting point. It's a nice round number. We had reasons to go down. We fell to 3,000 from 5,000 fairly quickly. We're now bouncing back up, and as of today, we're back at 4,100. I still think that we have not made it to the top this year. I still think there's one more high left towards the end of the year, maybe 6, 7, 7,500. Then there'll be another correction back down to about 5. So that's what I'm looking for. So later this year, a new high followed by a slightly bigger correction than what we just saw.
So the last question. Yesterday we were talking about your next speech. Can you give us some anticipations?
Sure. So I guess my prime speech that I've been traveling around the world and doing has been Bitcoin speculation speech, where I talk about the history of the price of Bitcoin, all the bubbles, how we got here, why Bitcoin is important, and where Bitcoin is going. But Bitcoin itself is almost being overshadowed by all these ICOs and all this speculation and all of these alternatives. And it's time to explain exactly what they are. So I plan to completely correlate the current ICO craze with the craze of the 1999, 2000 dot-coms. And it's pretty much the same exact thing. It's really uncanny. It's amazing how many people get on Twitter and I look at their followers. They have maybe 20, 40 followers, and they're telling me that I don't know where an ICO is and I don't know what trading is because they're experts and they made 6,000% this year. This is no different than a financial analyst getting into a cab in New York and the taxi driver is telling him what the next great IPO investment is. This is the world we're living in right now, and there needs to be a presentation explaining and comparing and contrasting the two environments. It's really amazing. I could never believe it. How could people be buying $100 IPOs and stocks during the dot-com boom and not realize that all it is a fancy website? And now I completely understand.
Oh, well. Thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you very much, Tone, for this short interview. that lasts around, I hope, one block. And thank you, BHP Network, for hosting us. And see you tomorrow for the meetup. It's going to be on streaming tomorrow.
Oh, thank you for letting me crash here. It's great. I'm really enjoying Milan, and Blockchain Lab is awesome. I've been introduced to the
yes, ScanCoinBot, guys. You have to follow ScanCoinBot.
Follow me on Twitter, Tone Vays on Twitter.
If you're not following him yet, of course.